Hello, this is Opinion Radar. In the bustling realm of woodworking tools, there are those that merely perform and those that elevate the craft. Today, I'm focusing on a compact champion, the WETOLS Corner Clamp. Its understated orange shell hints at a sturdiness that's been honed over years of design, and it's the sort of tool that turns a frustrating angle into a seamless connection. I've spent countless hours in workshops, observing how the right clamp can save time, keep joints clean, and reduce the risk of errors during assembly. That's why I'm excited to unpack what makes the WETOLS clamp a worthwhile addition to any kit, from the materials and build quality to the ease with which it grips a corner without the mess of screw holders or cumbersome brackets. In the sections ahead, I'll walk through how the clamp performs in real-world scenarios, where it shines, and where it might face limitations. My goal is to give you a clear, honest perspective, so you know if this little device will meet the demands of your projects. Let's dive in and explore this piece of ingenuity in more detail. I've been in the workshop for more than 20 years, and over that time I've seen my share of corner clamps, from cheap plastic models to heavy commercial pieces. The WETOLS Corner Clamp sits comfortably in that spectrum: a solid steel body, a snap-together spring-loaded arm, and a compact orange housing that makes it easy to spot among a cabinet of tools. From the moment I opened the box, the first thing I noticed was the built-in adjustment dial that allows me to set the spring tension by simply turning a small lever. Whether I'm working with a 1/4-inch plywood or a 3/4-inch oak rim, I can dial in exactly the amount of grip needed to keep the joint locked without crushing the material. The clamps came in a set of 4, which is handy when I need a steady workflow. No more hunting for a spare clamp when one arm is already in use. The price, a mere 16 cents each, is hard to argue against. A low cost for a tool that actually does what it promises and can feel almost like a joke in the price chart. In practice, the clamps lock firmly in place, holding the angle steady through the entire glue drying period or the time it takes to hand stitch a frame. They never slip or backslide, no matter how heavy the boards that I'm holding together. The WETOLS clamps integrate seamlessly into a wide range of projects: drawers, cabinets, shelving, and even picture frames. Once I had a set of drawers constructed from reclaimed pine, the clamps were my go-to. With one hand I held the back panel in the precise angle while the other hand applied glue to the back edge. The clamp slid over the corner, the spring clicked, and the panel stayed stubbornly upright until the glue set. Likewise, on my photo framing job, the clamps kept the 45-degree angle straight as I installed the backing board and glass. I've even used the set to finish a floating shelf that required multiple 90-degree corners, each section lock up after a simple twist. What makes this tool truly indispensable is that once the corner is engaged, I can walk away and focus on the next stage of the build without having to micromanage the clamp. This is especially critical when you're dealing with time-sensitive jobs or when your workbench space is cramped. Performance-wise, these clamps excel in both sturdiness and speed. The steel construction feels heavy enough for repetitive use, yet not so heavy that it's unwieldy. The adjustable spring, controlled by a single dial, lets me fine-tune the grip, preventing both over-tightening that could damage delicate veneers and under-tightening that would allow the board to shift. I've found the clamp opens and closes with a smooth, almost buttery motion. A single twist secures the corner without having to maintain pressure. The spring-loaded action is especially beneficial for anyone with wrist fatigue or limited hand strength. The clamp does most of the work for you. On several days, when fatigue set in, I could still place the clamp across a corner, let it grip, and move on to sealing the joint. The compact packaging is another plus. I keep them in a small organizer on my workbench, and it's surprisingly easy to pull one out when needed. Of course, nothing is perfect, and there are a couple of constraints that buyers should be aware of. The clamp's rated thickness limit is about 3/4 of an inch, so anything thicker will not fit comfortably. If you're working on larger boards or structural pieces, you'll need a different solution. The spring grab mechanism, while generally reliable, can sometimes loosen if the clamp is handled roughly. I've found myself gluing the grip back on after a few weeks of intensive use. Also, the arm's bite is a bit firm on very tight turns. For projects that require a lot of 90-degree clamping in tight spaces, you might feel a slight resistance. While these quirks don't derail the overall functionality, they do add a subtle layer of nuance to what might otherwise be a straightforward tool. On a personal level, the first real test of the WETOLS clamp came when I was building a custom bookshelf with a shallow cutback. I needed a solid 90-degree corner that would hold long, narrow shelves in place while the glue dried. The clamp's spring set me back firmly, and after a short wait the joint remained perfect, allowing me to move on to the next shelf. A few weeks later, I turned my attention to a delicate picture window frame, requiring a tight fit at each corner. The clamp's adjustable spring proved that extra help. I could turn up the tension to keep the frame in place while I worked on a precise bevel. Throughout both projects, the clamps felt robust and consistent, giving me confidence that the dimensions were right and the work would stay straight over time. In conclusion, the WETOLS Corner Clamp is a dependable, affordable solution for anyone who needs a quick, reliable way to lock 90-degree angles on small to medium-sized wood panels. Its steel build, adjustable spring, and simple latch mechanism make it a smooth, fast clamp that doesn't slip, the very qualities I've prized in tools across my career. Users do need to heed the thickness limitation, guard against occasional loosening of the spring grab, and recognize that the arm can be a bit firm when making very tight adjustments. For most hobbyists, small shop operators, and even seasoned craftsmen tackling everyday builds and finish work frames, these clamps deliver on the core promises of stability, speed, and ease of use. They represent classic craftsmanship with a modest price tag that makes them hard to resist. If this review helped you build your next project with confidence, give it a thumbs up and lock in that subscribe button. Just like the WETOLS clamp keeps corners steady, keeping our channel updates steady will keep your skills tightening. Hit like, stay secure, subscribe now and stay tuned for learning.